Hare Krishna. So we'll continue our discussion on the purports of Srila Prabhupada. So we will just conclude our first chapter. Here, very important point that three parts are there in this section, in this chapter. First is 3 verses, which is the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Bhagavatam is glorified. First, the absolute definition of absolute truth. Then we have the second shloka, where it is explaining how Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of all Vedic literature. It makes one free from all the tapatrayas, and then Lord appears in the heart of the devotee. And then the third verse, which explains how it is relished by who are in bhava and prema. Uh, of course, sorry. Second verse tells how it is free from all the dharma, artha, kam, moksha, chaturvida, and we have the fifth purushartha. And third shloka says how it is a ripened fruit of all Vedic literature and relished by who are in bhava and prema. Then we had the section where Sutta Goswami is glorified for his qualifications by the sages of Naimisharanya, and then they ask the 6 questions. So we have seen 6 questions. First is 2 questions, very simple to remember. What is the ultimate good for all, and what is the essence of scriptures? And remaining 3 about Lord only. Why Krishna appeared in the womb of Devaki Sanna was there, about Purusha Avataras, about Leela Avataras. And the last question is about where did this is the question, religious principle take shelter after Krishna disappeared? And the answer will be Bhagavatam. So next, this chapter, of course, in this is very important that we hear in a proper mood. This is a very important phenomena to understand. What happens is, why Sutta Goswami is so much glorified by the sages of Naimisharanya? Because he heard in a very submissive way. So this is a very important criteria for hearing. Why hearing submissive important? Because if we don't hear, if we are trying to understand knowledge on our own, it will be distorted. And there are 4 ways it will get distorted if we try to understand on our own. Or if we don't have humility, we interpret the knowledge through our false ego. So they come through our false ego, which will not be much benefiting. We have to give up the ego when we are going to Guru and submissively hear. Otherwise, it won't work. The example is given of Karna. He went to Parshuram for gaining knowledge, but he told lies that he's a Brahmana, and he got. And after that, when Parshuram comes to know, he said he actually curses, but it's actually not a curse. It's actually the statement only, and it is correct statement. Because you approach in a wrong way, when it is needed, it will not help. The mantra will not appear for you when you are in need. And greatest need for everyone is the time of death. And it didn't work only for him, because at the time of death, he could not remember what is needed. So for us also, we need to remember this knowledge at the time of death, which is a crucial hour. That is the reason we should be in a proper state of mind, which will really help. It will not get distorted. If we are going with false ego, it is so dangerous. That's why this first canto is Adhikara Tattva. We need to be very submissive, and we need to give up our ego, and we need to approach through Guru. That's why we are going with Prabhupada purports and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. That is the way we can properly understand with that submission. And we read with our filters, the ego, then there is a problem. So we will see what are the 4 ways it will get distorted. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes it very clear. First, try to understand a direct meaning of the Vedas. He says, don't go with indirect meaning. This is one instruction which he tells when he is meeting Prakashan Saraswati or Saram Bhattacharya, that we should not go with Vyangyan Vritti, we should go direct meaning first of all. And because of the pride, people do it. And what happens is, if we are not humble, then when people read the scriptures, they learn Sanskrit and all. We have seen many examples also who are in ISKCON who have read Sanskrit, who became very big scholars. Then they start finding faults in Prabhupada, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, then Jiva Goswami, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. So they start finding faults from down to up everybody. They say, oh, Prabhupada made mistake. These are the mistakes in Prabhupada's commentaries. These are mistakes in Bhaktivinoda Thakur. These are mistakes in Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why? Because they approach the Shastras from out of pride. There is no humility. And if it went through a false ego. That's why it is very important. Now the four types of distortions which are given, and like why Prabhupada is so special? He has mastered the art of submissive hearing. That's what his guru recognized him. Yes, he does not do. And then this is what, because this Vedic sound, it is if it is passed through false ego, then it's more dangerous also in many ways. The first thing is parichinna jnana. Parichinna jnana means this is fragmented knowledge. It becomes pieces. This is knowledge from Google. Google means Google. Why I am telling? Because we accumulate so much knowledge here, there, and we get it. But if we want to put anything in computers, we have to make into binary 010101. Similarly, we try to make everything very systematic and try to analyze and see. And in that way, it becomes fragmented. And because so much information, this fragmented knowledge, it is not going to help much. We will not understand. So you are just breaking into pieces. This is done by all this, all the Indologists and all. They're trying to fragment it, trying to understand. And we cannot study Vedas ourselves because this is having a problem. That's why we see that just a small example. If you take astrology about different grahas and their effects, and different constellation their effects, you will not find it one place. You will find some here, some here, some here, some here. You may think why it is not at one place very systematic, because it's not like that. We try to do it, we just get parichinna again. It's fragmented. We cannot understand the whole picture why it is like this. Whole understanding will not get. And then the second is sankirna jnana. Sankirna jnana is this is we are trying to get some part of it. We'll not get complete knowledge, only some part of it we are trying to understand, certain understanding. And we try to uh, only some, maybe you'll understand some section of it, not clearly. So this is another misunderstanding we get. And then there is, so the it is fragmented, it is made into pieces. One is only some part. And then we have the third is, it is distorted, vivarta jnana. Vivarta means it is like milk touched with some sour object. Either it becomes curd, or it may become, it turn into poisonous effect also, because it is completely different substance. So this is also another thing happens. We read, but will not be able to understand it properly, or it is completely spoiled. And then the last one is uh, and the last one will be like mhm. Of course, third one is third is, yeah, distorted knowledge. And then there is also one more, that where one start thinking wrong as right, he will have some conclusions out of it, and completely wrong conclusions. He will think is rope to be a snake, and he will say, it is snake only, like that. So this is also another, this is actually called vivarta, to think snake to be rope. And third is the yeah, third one is like the jnana, uh, which is distorted because of milk touched with. The example is like that. So these are the problems if people with false ego, they try to understand the knowledge. Yes, Muktakeshwar. Yes, Muktakeshwar.
Prabhuji, it was my mistake actually. Sorry, sorry,
Okay, okay.
sorry.
Okay, so this is, of course, there are many other criteria that are given for hearing. Maybe eventually we'll discuss. So we heard the four different ways of hearing, not hearing, and this is the main problem why people, after becoming big scholars, they're having problems with their gurus also, because they went. The approach should be very important. If you approach shastras in a wrong way, then we approach, instead of milking the cow, you get blood from the cow if you go with the dirty hands like that. So it is said that we are going with our false ego with the shastra. It is always a dangerous. We need to be very submissive and humble, and that is the qualification we saw for Suti Goswami. So here we just read the last purport, we didn't cover it. The question was asked, since Sri Krishna, the absolute truth, the master of all mystic powers, has departed for his own abode, please tell us to whom the religious principles have now gone for shelter. And religion consists of prescribed code enunciated by the personality of Godhead himself. Whenever there is gross misuse or neglect of principles of religion, the Supreme Lord appears himself to restore religious principles. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita. Here the sages of Naimisharanya are inquiring about these principles. The reply to this question is given later. Srimad Bhagavatam is a transcendental sound representation of the personality of Godhead, and thus it is full representation of transcendental knowledge and religious principles. So this is the first chapter. We have completed the purport successfully. We'll start with the second chapter. Here, this is actually a very important chapter because this is the foundation for whole of Bhagavatam. Means all the principles. Bhagavatam is talking about bhakti, and this chapter is explaining how it is, how bhakti appears and what how it progresses. And this is like the formula, and then based on this formula we'll see everywhere all the stories related to, based on this formula only. And the answers for first two questions are given in this chapter, and the process of bhakti is nicely given. This is the most important thing. And fourth question is also answered here. First, second, and fourth question, and remaining three questions will be answered in next chapter. So all six questions are answered in two chapters only, but the third chapter will be like a trailer of whole Bhagavatam. You'll get a trailer first and then the movie. Similarly, this is the trailer because all the incarnations are listed first and then it is elaborated. Almost all of them which are going to be mentioned, they are there. So here we will see what is the how Sutta Goswami answers the question. But this is a very important chapter to remember and memorize. व्यास उवाच इति सम्प्रश्नसंहर्षो विप्राणां रोमहर्षणे प्रतिपूज्य वचस्तेषां वक्तुम् उपचक्रमे. Sri Vyasdev said, Ugrashrava Sudha Goswami, the son of Romaharshana, being fully satisfied by the perfect questions of the Brahmanas, thanked them and thus attempted to reply. The sage of Naimisharanya asked Sudha Goswami six questions, and so he is answering them one by one. Now, before he is answering, he will offer prayers. Sutavacha yam pravajjantanupeta krityam द्वैपायनो विरह कातराजुभाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस् तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि. Madhu Goswami said, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the great sage Sukadeva Goswami. This is nice. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the great sage Sukadeva Goswami, who was who can enter the heart of all. Then he went away to take up the renounced order of life sannyas, leaving home without undergoing reformations by the sacred thread or the ceremonies observed by the higher caste. His father Vyasdev, fearing separation from him, cried out, O son, indeed only the trees which are absorbed in the same feeling of separation echoed in response to the bereaved father. So this is the glorification of his guru he is doing. And what is the glorification is how as soon as he uh, took birth, how he left. And of course, the story is like that he was 16 years even in the womb only. He was not ready to come out. He said, if I come out, I'll be affected by Maya. So Vyasdev had to go to Dwaraka, request Krishna, you come and tell my son that no, he will be protected from Maya. In the womb of mother, it is such a very torturous place. But Sukadeva Goswami thought this torture is better than the torture of being outside in the material world and getting affected by Maya. We may not have that realization, but he's Brahman realized, so he know it does not matter for him wherever he is. When Krishna issues, okay, nothing will happen, come, he comes out, but he immediately leaves to the forest. The Institute of Varna and Ashrama prescribes many regulative duties to be observed by its followers. Such duties enjoy that a candidate willing to study the Vedas must approach a bona fide spiritual master and request acceptance as his disciple. The sacred there is the sign of those who are competent to study the Vedas from the Acharya or the bona fide spiritual master. Srila Sukadeva Goswami did not undergo such purificatory ceremonies because he was a liberated soul from his very birth. Now we'll see what is the reason for doing it. Generally, a man is born as an ordinary being, and by the purificatory process, he is born for the second time. When he sees a new light and seeks direction for spiritual progress, he approaches spiritual master for instructions in the Vedas. The spiritual master accepts only the sincere inquirer as his disciple and gives him the sacred thread. In this way, a man becomes twice born, a Dvija. After qualifying as a Dvija, one may study the Vedas, and after becoming well versed in Vedas, one becomes a Vipra. Vipra or a qualified Brahmana thus realizes absolute and makes further progress in spiritual life until he reaches the Vaishnava stage. Vaishnava stage is the postgraduate status of a Brahmana. A progressive Brahmana must necessarily become a Vaishnava, or a Vaishnava is self-realized learned Brahmana. Srila Sukadeva Goswami was a Vaishnava from the very beginning, therefore there was no need for him to undergo all the processes of Varnashram institution. Ultimately, the aim of Varnashrama Dharma is to tune a crude man into a pure devotee of the Lord or a Vaishnava. Anyone, therefore, who becomes a Vaishnava accepts by the first class Vaishnava or Uttamadhikari. Vaishnava is already considered a Brahmana, regardless of his birth due to his past deeds. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted this principle and recognized Srila Haridas Thakur as the Acharya of the holy name. Although Haridas Thakur appeared in a Mohammedan family, in conclusion, Srila Sukadeva Goswami was born a Vaishnava and therefore Brahmanism was included in him. He did not have to undergo any ceremonies. Any low-born person, be he is a Kirata Hunanda Pulinda Pulkasha Abhira Shampa Yavana Kasha, or even lower, can be delivered to the highest transcendental position by the mercy of Vaishnavas. Srila Sukadeva Goswami was the instructing spiritual master of Srila Sukadeva Goswami, who therefore offers his respectful obeisances unto Srila Sukadeva Goswami before he begins his answers to the questions of sages at Naimisharanya. Now, a very important principle is why we need these purificatory processes. We'll just briefly say what happens. We all are born with certain sanskaras. Now we have to get rid of sanskaras, impressions which are caused from the previous life. And now what we do, we to live in a proper way. See what happens with this purificatory ceremonies and sanskaras, they give a certain true ego to a living entity. Especially for us, we need true egos. But to get that, we need to accept some false egos also before that. Like say, uh, when we are given the sacred ceremony, then that time person is told, okay, now you are a brahmachari. Now when he hears, oh, I am a brahmachari, till age 7, like that, he's normal, he's enjoying and no doing all sorts of nonsense. But suddenly a big ceremony is created, and that time it is almost as big as marriage. They call all the relatives, friends, everybody will come, and the brahmanas come, they chant, and big feast is made, and so many rituals are done. And suddenly the sanskara, what happens, it gives a great impression in the consciousness, especially the ego of the person. I am a brahmachari now because all this happened. It created a ego. And now, whenever he is doing anything, hey, why are you not waking up early morning in Brahma Muhurta? You are a brahmachari. Yes, 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 I am a brahmachari. How can I sleep before, after the sun is risen also? I should wake up in Brahma Muhurta. And say, how can you not be clean? You are a brahmachari. Yes, 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 I should be clean. So what happens? This ego will help him to act in a proper way. Basically, that is the very important help which is. And now then that ego will help him to go right direction. Then marriage happens, then there is a sanskara. What is that? Okay, she is wife, and no, today or not, she is your wife. Then he will, Arey, you are married, how can you be like this? Yes, yes, I am married, so I should be responsible. So the ego is accepting, yes, I am a husband, now I am a wife, and I need to be responsible, like that. So this is a help to Mogra. Now you may say, Are, this is all false only, na? You are a brahmachari is also false. Na ham vipro na chanarpati na pi vaishya na shudra. I am not a brahmachari, grahastha, vanapasanya. Why all this is needed? It is needed. Say somebody falls on the ground. Then he has to take help of the ground only to get up. Similarly, all these designations which are given by Varnashrama is also false, but you need to take help of them to ultimately come, what Prabhupada is telling, to the highest stage of a Vaishnava. So we need Varnashram Dharma is to turn a crude man into a pure devotee or a Vaishnava. So slowly, slowly he will come to a stage of the Madhikari. He will be able to follow the rules to elevate his consciousness in that way. Okay, just briefly touching everything. Anybody want to share something from the first two verses, comments? Okay. So this is the first prayer for Sukadeva Goswami. We'll see what is the second prayer he does for Sukadeva Goswami. Yes, Kil Mataji. You want to know what are the 4 types of destruction? Yes, Mataji, sorry.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, the 4 kinds of distortion. Was somebody else asking that, or were you reading my mind? I don't know.
Yeah, I thought I should clarify because I know you'll be asking.
Oh my God, I can't believe you know me so well already. That's exactly what I was asking, because they all, especially the first 3 types, they sounded too similar. I didn't understand anything how they were separate.
Yeah, when I was about to speak, I was knowing that you will be asking, so I am prepared.
My God.
So first in Mataji, it's a parichinna. So parichinna is it is actually fragmentation, bits and pieces, bits and pieces. People try to understand in that way. You will not get a complete picture. You will know everything, but you don't understand. And this is parichinna. Like now, sometimes if they want to prepare for a class, they will take some. They will go. They will see the purport. Okay, now some part from Chaitanya Charitamrita, some from Bhagavatam, some from here, some from there, and they will make a class. And then what happens is, you don't have complete idea what that section is telling. You don't have complete idea what, but you want to collect it for your class. You mix everything and you present. It will not give any complete understanding. It's all bits and pieces.
So, because when you said that, I'm also thinking that, when you hear classes, you do take from various sources to illustrate your point, so that seems legitimate.
how you should do. Like now, if he's seeing now Balram Shakti Pro is taking, now he is just taking what Acharyas are explaining, and Acharyas are only giving references because they have understood that section of Bhagavad Gita also very correctly, that section of Bhagavatam correctly. They are giving references. And when we are giving references, I need to know exactly all the section of that part. I need to know exactly everything what that explanation is given. I cannot take Ajamila one shloka from it. No, I should know a whole story of Ajamila, what all the exact reasons without missing anything. Then only I'll be able to quote it properly. Otherwise, I'll be misquoting because I don't know the whole
Okay.
context. This is what happens. That's why Prabhupada said, no, even if you're reading one book, also read it thoroughly so that we'll be able to properly present it if we are presenting.
Okay, so taking bits and pieces means you're you're quoting things out of context, so you're not giving the real
If you
meaning.
know everything properly about it, then only we'll be able to quote. Now I can quote some book, but now I should know it thoroughly. I may say, okay, this is talking about. If I say Bhagavad Gita, this is talking about this subject, but I need to know exactly what Krishna want to say and what acharyas are commenting on it.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean by context. Because if you don't
Yeah.
know it thoroughly, then you will misunderstand
Parichinna means he does not know the context. He knows everything, but don't know the context.
uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. So that's one.
Yeah. Second
That's
is
the bits and pieces. Uh-huh.
and second is you know some part only. You don't know the whole picture. Now, if you say Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita na Karma Yoga only. And it's not just Karma Yoga. There is Jnana Yoga, and ultimately it is Bhakti. But you know only one part of it. I'm just giving one example like that. They know one
Uh,
part of it. That's all. But they need the whole picture. What exactly Bhagavad Gita is.
okay.
And then the third says that because it is distorted uh, like milk touch with sour object, it gets spoiled. So similarly, people with wrong motivations, they read, they have their own things. Like many commentators on Bhagavad Gita we have in India, all are distorting the main meaning of Bhagavad Gita.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because of their own agenda. They want to see it
Their own
to serve their own
agendas.
interpretation. Yeah.
Yeah, it is spoiled, and of course, it is something similarly. Is Vivarta is they have this. They also have they have wrong conclusions. Also, one is they try to their conclusions means they want to put their things in it and use Bhagavad Gita. They say Bhagavad Gita is like a body, Kurukshetra is a body, and all that is distortion.
Wait,
And
wait.
something
Is this the fourth one or still the
no.
third one?
Distortion is there, but some things na they read, they don't have anything. But when they read on their own with their false ego, they go to wrong conclusions. Like
Yeah,
all this
yeah.
Mayavadis, their conclusion itself is wrong. Some
Hmm.
people they have their own ideas and they try to project through Bhagavad Gita, but some people they
Yes.
read, but they go for wrong only.
Right, right. Okay, and now the fourth?
So there are two differences. See, now I have my ideas. Now what I do, I take Bhagavad Gita and present my ideas.
Yeah,
Say
that
I
sounds
have
like the third one. That's the third one.
a third one. I have my ideas and I try to distort Bhagavad Gita. I'll say Bhagavad Gita is telling this only. Say I
Yes,
say like no Gandhi wanted peace. And say Bhagavad Gita is talking about peace only.
yes,
So, and but some people they read Bhagavad Gita and because they are not having proper guidance, they say, no, Bhagavad Gita is ultimately talking about impersonalism only. They don't, not their idea, but they have wrong idea what Bhagavad Gita is telling only.
yeah.
That is the fourth one.
Oh, okay. So third one is you have your own agenda and you're using
Ah,
Shastra to support it.
yeah,
Fourth one is um you just come because you're not consulting authority.
yeah,
You don't have your own agenda, but you come to the wrong conclusion because you're seeing it through your own experience in this world.
yeah.
Okay.
These are all wrong because of false ego. If we are not humble, if we have pride, these are all things problem.
Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Especially the part where you read my mind. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
No, because I know this is last, so I was prepared. You are very intelligent, so I cannot escape just speaking something. And I cannot. Okay. So yeah, I had one question in chat box. I'll write. The sacred ceremony is done in Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya. Is it not done in Shudras? If not, why? Because of their low level of consciousness. Uh, yeah, they. It is not by birth actually. It is not by Shudra by birth. It is by qualities. If they have low qualities, then they are not qualified. They may be birth of. They may be greater, but like even somebody is like uh, Anga, so from Vena, Prithu Maharaj also comes, and Vena's body, one Nishada also comes. So one is qualified, one is not qualified. It's not by birth. Of course, Shudra is having low level of consciousness, but it is not based on birth. It is based on qualities. And this is how the sanskaras are given. This is very important. Actually, sanskaras from the before birth, from Garbhadan Sanskara, when the child in the womb, there are 2-3 more Sanskaras, and how they very much affect the child. We will see the next glorification, what he does for his Guru. So, this is the appreciation Sudha Goswami has for his Guru Spirit, Sukadev Goswami. Yes, Swahanubhavamakhilam Shrutisaramekum Adhyatmadipam Atitishtam Tamondam Samsarinam Karunaya Purana Guhyam Tamvyasa Sunupayami Guru Munina. He says, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Sukha, the spiritual master of all sages, son of Vyasdev, who, out of his great compassion for those great gross materialistic who struggle to cross over the darkest region of mental existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge after having personally assimilated it by experience. Of course, one small thing actually important I forgot in this is that what he glorifies about Sukadeva Goswami is who can enter the hearts of all. And that means he knows what all Paramatma reveals to him about all living entities. He is a spiritual master. He has this ability, can enter into hearts of all. He can know what living entities are thinking and sorry, what they need, especially spiritual master needs. And here, what glorification he says is that he, out of great compassion for the gross materialistics, he compiled this Srimad Bhagavatam to help them to get out of it. If somebody reading Bhagavatam, if they are not able to get out of this clutches of material existence, then Sukadeva Goswami will be a failure because he cannot fail. That means Srimad Bhagavatam is always successful. Krishna will make sure Srimad Bhagavatam is successful by our submissive reading, and the way we are doing is sufficient. Why many people after reading so much difference don't have? It is because of wrong way of reading. That's all. Otherwise, there is no question that we will not get result after reading Bhagavatam. Only thing is we have to be qualified. We should make ourselves qualified to read Bhagavatam. Submissive, submissively hearing. That's all. Other than we will not get any distortions. We'll get clear message. Our heart will be changed, and Krishna will appear in our heart like that. In this prayer, Srila Sudha Goswami practically summarized the complete introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is a natural supplementary commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. The Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutras are compiled by Vyasdev with a view to presenting just a cream of Vedic knowledge. Srimad Bhagavatam is a natural commentary on this cream. Srila Sukadeva Goswami was a thoroughly realized master of the Vedanta Sutra, and consequently, he also personally realized the commentary. Srimad Bhagavatam realized the commentary Srimad Bhagavatam, and just to show his boundless mercy upon bewildered materialistic men who want to cross completely over sense, he recited for the first time this confidential knowledge. We will discuss what is natural commentary. Of course, Balram Shaktiprabhu also shared how first few shlokas of Srimad Bhagavatam are directly what Vedanta Sutra also speaks, the same sutras, how it is matching. And also there are some other ways to understand why it is a natural commentary. We will come to that also. We will discuss. There is no point in arguing that a materialistic man can be happy. No materialistic creature, be the great Brahma or an insignificant, can be happy. Everyone tries to make a permanent plan for happiness, but everyone is baffled by the laws of material nature. Therefore, the materialistic world is called the darkest region of God's creation. Yet, the unhappy materialistic can get out of it simply by desiring to get out. Unfortunately, they are so foolish that they do not want to escape. Therefore, they are compared to the camel who relishes thorny twigs because he likes the taste of twigs mixed with blood. He does not realize that it is his own blood and his tongue is being cut by the thorns. Similarly, the materialistic, his own blood is as sweet as honey, and although he is always harassed by his own material creations, he does not wish to escape. Such materialistics are called karmis. Out of hundreds of thousands of karmis, only a few may feel tired of material engagements and desire to get out of the labyrinth. Such intelligent people are called Gyanis. The Vedanta Sutra is directed to such Gyanis. Srila Vyasdev, being the incarnation of Supreme Lord, could foresee the misuse of Vedanta Sutra by unscrupulous men, and therefore he personally supplemented the Vedanta Sutra with the Bhagavad Puran. It is clearly said that his Bhagavatam is the original commentary on the Brahma Sutras. This Bhagavatam. Srila Vyasdev also instructed the Bhagavatam to his own son, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, who was already at the liberated stage of transcendence. Srila Sukadeva Goswami realized it personally and then explained it. By the mercy of Srila Sukadeva, the Bhagavad Vedanta Sutra is available for all those sincere souls who want to get out of the material existence. Now, Prabhupada is very systematically telling how this material world is a place of suffering. And after people who are so much into it, they drink their own blood and they are happy with it. But very few souls, after getting frustrated, they come to the next level and they become jnanis. And for them, Vyasdeva has compiled. Of course, Vyasdeva compiled all these materialistic people also, he compiled Vedas, help them more and more get entangled. This is another point with the problem with Vedas. Vedas, there are three things what Krishna tells in the 15th chapter, Urdhva Madashakam. He says that the leaves of this Vedic literature, so these leaves are compared to Vedic literature. And this Urdhva Madashakam, it tells what are the causes of, they're telling the cause of entanglement for the living entity. That Krishna is telling that I am the light of sun, I am the light of moon, I am the light of fire. That means he's telling that the light part, the Brahman feature is me. And then he's telling Mattaspuddhar Jnanam Apohanam cha. The Paramatma feature who gives forgetfulness, knowledge and memory, I am that. And then Vedesya Sarve Rahame Vedya. By through Vedas, you will come to understand me as Bhagavan. Now, when he's telling these three features, Prabhupada writes that Paramatma is the cause of entanglement also and liberation also. Because he gives, if you want to forget him, the forgetfulness is also given by the Paramatma. If you want to know about him, then Paramatma will reveal us and he will guide in right direction. Similarly, Vedas also. If you want to help us to go, it will help us to go to spiritual world. It will help us to understand Supreme Lord, are nicely entangled in this material world. And even Paramatma, Brahman feature also. The sun, when sun is there, people will be enthusiastic to do sense gratification. And moon is there, they are more enthusiastic. And the digestion fire, people are enthusiastic, and it will all these three features, Vedas, Brahman, Paramatma, is entanglement. Now somebody is after getting frustrated, that is the main qualification. If you are not frustrated with the enjoyment in the material world, not possible to get out. So Bhagavatam is an unrivaled commentary on Vedanta Sutta. Shiva Shankaracharya intentionally did not touch it because he knew that the natural commentary would be difficult for him to surpass. He wrote the Sharirika Bhasha, and his so-called followers uh, deprecated the Bhagavatam as some new presentation. One should not be misled by such propaganda directed against the Bhagavatam by the Mayavadi school. From his introductory shloka, the beginning student should know that Srimad Bhagavatam is the only transcendental literature meant for those who are Paramhamsas and completely free from the material. This is called malice. The Mayavadis are envious of the personality of Godhead, despite Sripa Shankaracharya's admission that Narayana, the personality of Godhead, is above the material creation. Envious Mayavadis cannot have access to the Bhagavatam. Those who are really anxious to get out of this material existence may take shelter of this Bhagavatam because it is uttered by the liberated Srila Sukadeva Goswami. It is the transcendental torchlight by which one can see perfectly the absolute truth realized as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Paramatma feature, it forgetfulness also. Even the logical arguments, all these atheists are getting, who gives that intelligence? Paramatma only gives, because they want to go away from him. So Lord helps to fulfill that. The intelligence is given by Paramatma. To go to Lord, the intelligence is also given by Lord. So in that way, Paramatma helps in entanglement also and liberation also. Brahman feature also. Light is there. We can enjoy, you can utilize for doing sense gratification, or we can utilize for understanding the truth in that way. Veda, same thing. Help us to get out, help us to get entangled. So at this point, maybe next, yeah, Mother Devati also said, I am fed up with the happiness and distress, and thus inquires about a transcendental knowledge. Yes, thank you. Here, same thing, like of course, I will take this maybe Monday morning. First few minutes, I'll talk about uh, Vedanta Sutra and Vedanta Sutra and Srimad Bhagavatam, how it is a natural commentary. Some more points I'll add to it. This is very important. We need to understand. Of course, Prabhuji covered something. I will try to cover something. Yes, scale.
Yeah, going back to, again with this reading minds thing, you said that a spiritual master can read everybody's mind, but isn't it only the minds of, is it not only the minds of those devotees who have taken shelter of the spiritual master? Like his disciples, not everybody's mind.
Whoever comes in front of him, Lord reveals, and he can know. Even though he may not be disciple, a new person comes, spiritual master can know his mind.
Because, I mean, it doesn't seem like that's true for everybody. The spiritual master does. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he necessarily.
Of course, if he's on the level of Sukadeva Goswami, he will definitely know. It is little less Mahabhagavata than he may not.
Yeah, even though he is a spiritual master.
Spiritual master can be Madhyamadikari, also can be spiritual master, but he may not know.
Yeah.
He just know some things, and he can guide his disciple to a higher level. But here, the spiritual master is, we are talking about on the level of Sukadeva Goswami. That's what we had to see the commentary of Vishnu Chakravarti. Maybe when Prabhuji comes, that we'll see. I'll also check it. What is that? Because I understand that spiritual master knows means knows. That's all.
Okay, but generally you're saying that Knows means they have to at least be on the level of Uttama Adhikari, right?
Hmm.
Okay. All right.
And
Thank you for that.
Lord will help if he is sincere disciple and both are sincere, even though not be very great elevated also, he may know about his disciples. What you said is at least what his disciple need,
Yeah.
Paramatma will reveal in his heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, so we'll just take this very famous shloka. Now, after offering obeisances to his guru in 2 verses, now Sutta Goswami is offering obeisances to Lord Narayana, Saraswati, and Vyasdev. Narayana, of course, Naranarayan Rishi. Why Naranarayan Rishi? I don't know. One reason I see is because he is the Lord for this Bharata Varsha. Every Varsha has different forms of the Lord that is worshipped, and Naranarayan Rishi is who is worshipped at this. Yeah, spiritual master may know the mind of the disabled because they are on the transcendental platform. Because even on the middle platform, who has done some psychiatric research or a doctor knows about the patient psychology. Yeah, yes, okay, thank you. Now he's offering obeisances. Narayanam Namaskritya, Naram Chaiva Narottam, Devim Sarasatim Vyasam, Tato Jayamudire. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana and to Naranarayan Rishi, the supreme most human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasdev, the author. So he is offering obeisances to Lord and Naranarayan Rishi, who is the predominating deity of this Bharatavarsha, and Saraswati Devi. Saraswati, she's Vak, our ability to speak, and all these things are because of mercy of goddess Saraswati, and the author is Srila Vyasadeva. Purport. All the Vedic literatures and the Puranas are meant for conquering the darkest region of material existence. The living being is in the state of forgetfulness of his relation with God due to his being overly attracted to material sense gratification from time immemorial. His struggle for existence in the material world is perpetual and it's not possible for him to get out of it by making plans. If he at all wants to conquer this perpetual struggle for existence, he must re-establish his eternal relation with God. And one who wants to adopt such remedial measures must take shelter of literature such as the Vedas and Puranas. Foolish people say that the Puranas have no connection with the Vedas. However, the Puranas are supplementary explanation of the Vedas intended for different types of people. All men are not equal. There are men who are conducted by modes of goodness, others who are under mode of passion, and others who are under mode of ignorance. The Puranas are so divided that any class of men can take advantage of them and gradually regain their lost position and get out of the hard struggle for existence. Srila Sutta Goswami shows the way of chanting the Puranas. This may be followed by persons who aspire to each of the Vedic literatures and the Puranas. Srimad Bhagavatam is spotless Purana and it is especially meant for those who desire to get out of the material entanglement permanently. And if you see all the Puranas, now this mantra is there. Narayana Namaskritya. Before many Puranas, this mantra comes. Sutta Goswami offers obeisances to Lord Narayana, Naranarayan Rishi, and Saraswati. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have heard somewhere that Nar Narayana is the Arjuna and Krishna. Is it right?
Yeah. Nara and Narayana, they appeared as Krishna and Arjuna. Yes, correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
So here, this is another important thing that all the Puranas, they are okay. Why is Narayana? Why not Krishna? He may be meditating on Krishna only. Because Krishna can also be addressed as Narayana. So in this place, he may be using the word Narayana. Krishna also is called Narayana. So From the heart of Suta Goswami, we cannot know whom is addressing as Narayana. Because Krishna is original Narayana. Brahma also prays, no? Adyo Narayana. So you are Adi Narayana. So Krishna is Adi Narayana. So it's not wrong. Now what he did, first he offered obeisances to Guru, then he offered obeisance to Lord Narayan, Rishi, Saraswati, Vyasdev. Now what he's doing, he's offering prayers to, he's appreciating the audience first. He's saying, Munaya sadhu prishtoham bhavadbhir loka mangalam yatkritah Krishna samprashno dinatma suprasidati. O sages, I have been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna and so are of relevance to the world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self. Now, this is what he's appreciating the question itself, because this is very important. What is the reason he's telling? Because they're related to Krishna. There can be so many questions. These are related to Krishna and are of relevance to the world's welfare. And such questions, of course, not answers also. Question is the question answers, completely capable of satisfying the self. Since it has been stated here and before that this Bhagavatam, the absolute truth, is to be known, the questions of the sages of Naimisharanya are proper and just, because they pertain to Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth. In Bhagavad Gita, the Personality of Godhead says that in all the Vedas there is nothing but the urge for searching after Him, Lord Krishna. Thus, the questions that pertain to Krishna are the sum and substance of all Vedic inquiries. So, this is a very famous purport of Prabhupada. The whole world is full of questions and answers. The birds, beasts, and men are all busy in the matter of perpetual questions and answers. In the morning, the birds in the nest become busy with questions and answers, and in the evening also the same birds come back and again become busy with questions and answers. The human being, unless he is fast asleep at night, is busy with questions and answers. The businessmen in the market are busy with questions and answers, and so also the lawyers in the court and the students in the school and colleges. The legislators in the parliament are also busy with questions and answers. And the politicians, the press representatives are all busy with questions and answers. Although they go on making such questions and answers for their whole life, they are not at all satisfied. Satisfaction of soul can only be obtained by questions and answers on the subject of Krishna. This is Krishna is the most intimate master, friend, father or son and object of conjugal love. Forgetting Krishna, we have created so many objects of questions and answers, but none of them are able to give us complete satisfaction. All things but Krishna gives temporary satisfaction only. So, if we are to have complete satisfaction, we must take to the questions and answers about Krishna. We cannot live for a moment without being questioned or without being giving answers, because the Srimad Bhagavatam deals with questions and answers that are related to Krishna. We can derive the highest satisfaction only by reading and hearing this transcendental literature. One should learn the Srimad Bhagavatam and make an all-round solutions to all problems pertaining to social, political, or religious matters. Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna are the sum total of all things. So, very important point. One important point, what Prabhupada is trying to tell. See, all the things which we are seeing around are temporary. The temporary things cannot give a permanent happiness. Only Krishna, who is permanent, can give temporary satisfaction. So all things but Krishna give only temporary satisfaction because they are only temporary. But we always want permanent things. People want permanent house, permanent job, permanent wife and husband or whatever. But the things in this world are not permanent. How can we expect the permanent? Even what happens is we change, our mind also change. That's why our relation is also not in one way permanent. Permanent in the sense means like, no, what I was 10 years back, I'll not be after 10 years. Body and mind change. because then you will not be, then you will see that he's a person, different person. It's not permanent. So our relationship, and after that body changes, we go to another body. It is not permanent only. So how can we get a permanent happiness? Only a person who is holding on to permanent thing, that is holy name, Bhagavatam and Krishna, can get permanent happiness. And that will give real satisfaction. Otherwise, there is always unsatisfied. Like, no, always there is so much change here. The change makes us very uncomfortable. Oh, I'm sitting here, and after 10 minutes, I have to sit there, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Can I sit at one place permanently? This is what a living entity wants. And that is when he comes to Krishna. This is what Prabhupada is telling. So all these question answers won't work, but question answers about Krishna only works. So thank you all very much. And we'll continue our discussion from verse number 6 from on Monday. Hare Krishna. So please participate, or you can also, some of you can read the purports. It will be easy. So we have to go fast also, and we have to cover, we have to discuss also. So yes, Mataji.
Yeah, I was just curious about Srila Prabhupada's comment that even in the animal kingdom, among the birds, question and answer is coming. What is their question? Where is food, or what else?
Yes, where is food?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Of course, we don't know their language, but Prabhupada is telling we'll accept it.
Prabhupada is telling what?
We don't know their language, because Prabhupada is telling we'll accept it.
Okay. Yes, okay. Okay, Prabhu, thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you very much. Hare Krishna.